Hey peoples, and welcome back to the Gunners Guild. I'm going to go over the new sets introduced in 5.1 and the potential set updates for them. First, let's run through the sets, starting with what we have now, which is Everest Gamma. The new Emperor set is kind of odd for sure. It has some decent slot options and a lot of supportive skills like wide range, earplugs, and evade window. However, it doesn't appear to be much better than Empress Beta. You can use these pieces if you need earplugs and stamina cap up, but honestly I don't see it being used much. Moving on to the next set which is due, which is Zno Gamma. As everyone knows, Zora set is the only way to get critical status, and the Zora sets right now are pretty bad, and needing 3 pieces for crit status makes it not desirable at all. Now Zno Gamma on the other hand is actually pretty nice looking. Getting heads, arms, and boots for 4 ranks of critical eye, 2 ranks of windproof, 2 earplugs, 2 blast attacks, and status crit is not bad. The slots are pretty good too. While I don't see any gunners taking this set, blade masters such as dual blade, switch axe, and sword and shields can probably make decent use of this. Probably not meta by any means because Draken is so OP, but it's still usable. And now the last set which is due is Zno Gamma. While not confirmed yet by Capcom, it's already in the game. This set is absolute bonkers, especially for gunners. While the head and chest don't seem to be very useful, that's actually good, because the Nerg Helm and Wrath chest are pretty much staples to gunner sets. The arms, waist, and boots, however, are straight up overpowered. The slots, critical boost, and spare shot are just crazy. The general rule of thumb now is that we're going to be using 3 pieces of these on almost every gunner set. Alright, let's go over the potential set updates. Long story short, it's all Zno Gamma. For heavy bowguns, Cluster's got a slight buff by about 12 effective raw. They can now squeeze in Agitator 5 on Cluster sets and still have a free slot for something like artillery or health boost. You can trade in ranks of Agitator for artillery and potentially run Artillery 3 Agitator 3, which is an upgrade to both Wyvern and full Cluster setups, but only by a little bit. Moving on to Glutton, we basically traded 2 ranks of attack boost for spare shot, and that's an insane buff if you didn't know. 6 effective raw loss out of about 320 is only a 2% damage loss, which is maybe enough to change the damage of a pellet by 1, just maybe. In exchange we get more ammo and a lot more potentially. On average we should be getting about 2 procs per clip, which is just going to be nasty. Glutton getting this much better is just not even fair at this point. Alright, let's move on to Lipoguns. Thankfully we got a lot of nice buffs here as well. Unfortunately not really any for critical element, because element doesn't need crit boost, and the good element Lipogun, which is Luna Sticks, already has spare shot. Devil's Madness finally gets a worthwhile buff, however. It's only gained 1 or 2 ranks of critical eye since it's been out, because basically it's forced to run spare shot all the time. Now we get to run 2 ranks of critical boost on top, and your choice of 100% affinity or more raw. On average we're going to be gaining about 40 effective raw on this build, which is just great. It's going to be hitting so much harder than it used to. I'm actually very excited to play this. This also includes the alternative builds which run Dragon 3 as well for those dragon shots. Now, Juratotus and Meyer get to run spare shot too. They lose nothing in exchange, just about 2 effective raw, which is absolutely nothing. But thanks to spare shot, we can have much bigger clip sizes for their spread too, and their status shots. While I don't think this is going to beat better Devils still, it's a very nice buff, and I already love these bowguns, so having spare shot on these is going to be awesome. And finally on to Kulftaroth's support bowgun. This one took a slight hit to raw, losing 10 effective raw, or about 3% damage, which is nothing serious, but we gained spare shot. I know every set's running spare shot now, but trust me, it's absolutely worth it. Support already had very fast load times, so it wasn't entirely necessary to use spare shot, but honestly, we don't lose anything for running it, so why not? That's just kind of how dumb OP this set is, because each of these guns have lost nothing, but gained spare shot, which is a huge boost to DPS. And if you don't know why spare shot's so good, it's because the DPS loss on bowgun reloading is pretty significant, and spare shots can help us extend magazine sizes, which makes us have to reload less often. It's very helpful in things like status ammo or things that have slow reload speeds, as they might not even have to reload to get that status off, or stuff along that line. Anyway, one last thing I wanted to add was on bows. Now I don't see any of these sets helping bows out much, which is fine because bows don't really need to be any better. However, I have managed to throw on a Zno set for bows, which still runs crit element and all the necessary skills. You lose out on a fair bit of affinity. In this case on Enchant's bow we lost 17% crit, which is the most useful skills for bows because we're so dependent on crit element. But you do get spare shot, which will give us 12 to 17 power coats in a hunt, and while I don't believe this will ever be a necessary trade, it's still something to ponder and keep in mind. This is just kind of showing you how ridiculous the set is. We could just throw it on anything, excluding probably free element bows. Just keep it in mind. That's all I really have on the subject for now, and unfortunately this appears to be all the content update until after the Winters Festival, so don't expect too much until then. Let's all cross our fingers and hope some new monsters or big DLC packs will get announced at the end of the year. Alright, thanks for watching people, peace.